ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. I hope you guys have had a good start to your week and that Monday was as good as a Monday can be. So I was just rushing around to try and get a little fan to have blowing throughout and during this live stream, because I thought, oh, it's not very warm at the moment, it's fine, I'll do the live stream. And then over the last 10 minutes, as always tends to be the case, it started to get really hot in this room. So I managed to get a little fan going and hopefully I'll survive. So if I just start sweating a lot, you'll know what that is all about. Anyway, let's get into the live stream and let me get the names of my patrons up on screen immediately, because they make this all possible in the first place. So a massive shout out to you guys. You know who you are. They are the foundation of everything that I do, as I always say. So, let's get into that live chat room, see who's in there tonight. I have a go at shouting out some names. We have Tammy, Beanie, Bob, Cindy, Brian, Diamond Girl, Daisy, Debbie, Anna, Karen, Desert Deluge, Liz, Vera, Elaine PM112, Lucy, Susan, Joy, and I don't want to repeat too many names, but Laura's in there as well, and Teresa's in there as well, and Carla, and Gail, Louise 1976, Joe, B, hello, thank you for joining me on this Tuesday night. So tonight, as is always the case, we're going to be aiming for not only as many likes as possible, but we're aiming for 490, which does seem like it's suddenly got very high very quickly with the number, because I think we got to maybe this or 500 before, and then we did the rollback because we didn't quite hit the target. So we'll have to see whether we hit the target tonight or not. So if you can hit the thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be very much appreciated. And as is always the case, if we hit that target, then we will have a jam at the end of the live stream. And that's going to be Phil Jam number 169. Now, whenever I look at the screen, when I've got this shirt on, unfortunately, well, in normal lighting, you can't really see that it's an AC/DC t-shirt. And having said that, the problem is when I look at it, it now looks like, because it's worn, it now looks like it's a CDC. So we have a cover band maybe, because the A is almost completely rubbed off, which is a shame. So yeah, I don't know why that's happened. So because normally the guitar strap is over my left shoulder, so surely the other letters, I don't know, it's, I don't know, witchcraft as to why the A has disappeared. But anyway, just seeing the t-shirt on screen, I can now actually see what it says on the t-shirt, whereas normally I can't. Anyway, we'll have to see how much of it how much of it rubs off throughout the years. Maybe eventually it'll just end up being a DC, which is Detroit City, I believe, over in the USA. It could just turn into that, or just a C. So yeah, just a city of any description. But anyway, yes, we are going to be doing everything as we normally do. Let me get the like-ometer up on screen so that we can keep a track on that. And we are at 253 likes so far. So thank you everyone for hitting that thumbs up. And maybe if we can have a bit of a spike of the likes, it'll make it easier for me to work out how many more likes we need. So I'm going to say 233. That might have been correct. It might have been incorrect, but if we get to 290, that'll be, yeah, 200. Oh, now we're getting close. It's 214. I think we need, obviously, that's quite a lot of people to get involved before the end of the live stream, but we will see what happens. Right, we have the vote going at the top of the live chat room for tonight's cover video, and the Don't Slow Down cover, the Mr. Tune, that one's still hanging on in there. So it's up against Is This Love by Whitesnake. So we'll have a look and see which of those wins. It looks like Is This Love is in the lead. So it might be another live stream of not hearing a Don't Slow Down. It's just destined not to be heard. But there have been donations as well, so thank you guys for these, and this is the point at which I say you don't have to donate, just watching is great, and that goes for everything. For requests for analysis videos, you don't have to donate, just send me through the request and I'll look at it. It's just reminded me of a troll corner, and I wasn't sure whether we were going to have a troll corner tonight, but there is definitely something that popped up earlier today in the comment section that I could mention because I just remembered it, and I'm gonna have to try and think of how they worded it, but I'm gonna make a quick note just to see if that helps me later on. So yeah, we will have a brief troll corner later on. No picture corner tonight. I think we're all picture cornered out after the last picture corner that we had, where we had 7 pictures or something crazy like that. So yeah, we might have a little bit more time for something else tonight. Maybe even a riff of the week. Who knows? You haven't had one of those in about 2 million weeks, and we might have time for, I don't know, a fill tune as well. We will see. So Anyway, I can see that Orlando has donated $2. Thank you for that, Orlando. And the message is, hi all, spike the likes everyone, with thumbs up. So thank you for that, Orlando. Great idea. If you guys want to hit that thumbs up, that would be great. Over 300 likes so far. So we've already made a bit of a dent in it at 12 minutes past 11. And I've actually remembered this for myself, that tonight we are at 411,000 subscribers on the channel. So we've got up another 1,000 subscribers, which is great. Thank you guys for subscribing, commenting, liking, all of that stuff. It really does help the channel to get out there and to grow a little bit more. So yeah, that's great. And the last video, it seems like at the moment I'm receiving loads of messages about lots of different things that people are interested, well, from a lore perspective, in certain songs and uploads and, you know, copyright claims and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to skip that advert before it goes in. So yeah, 411,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for subscribing, and yeah, hit that notification bell to get notified for every video and the live streams. You will need to do that. But let's get rid of that. But yeah, back to the point. People emailing me about lots of different things, and yeah, because I'm not a lawyer, I feel like, well, I can't really speak about the law with any authority, and that's what Scott's for. And in my last video, I did leave the link to his part 1 and his part 2 videos that he did over on his channel, explaining about the copyright claims and then registering a song and giving it the content ID, and the song might actually even be a cover of another song, but you can still claim that as your original work effectively. So yeah, you guys can head over to his channel to keep up to date with everything that he's looking into over there. But I've been emailed about other things that have popped up, which, yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to need to do another video on something that, yeah, is currently going round, and I've received a lot of emails that have sent me the link to Rick Beato's video where he was talking about interpolation. And yeah, well, I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later in the live stream, but it's another copyright thing that I think people are maybe a bit confused about, but the law hasn't changed. So everything about the law still applies, regardless of which words you use. So anyway, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. But I won't get into that now, because it'll probably be you know, a live stream that will just be spent talking about copyright law and, yeah, theft, effectively, which is what it is. But anyway, yes, thank you for that, Orlando, the $2 donation. Thank you guys for subscribing. And there have been donations over in the PayPal window. And by the way, if you do donate, you don't have to donate. But for those people that do, I think it's important that you know between 45 and 60% goes to YouTube through the Super Chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, which is in the description below. But yeah, as I said, you don't have to donate. Anyway, jumping over to the PayPal window, we've had a £2 donation from Chuck. So thank you for that, Chuck. And we had one that came through from Tammy as well for £10. Thank you for that, Tammy. And the message is, hi Phil, congratulations on hitting 411,000 subscribers. You'll probably be at 412,000 by the time this live stream is over. Keep on bringing them in. You rock. So thank you for that. And Debbie has donated £10 as well. Thank you for that, Debbie. The message is, hi Phil, congrats on 411,000 subscribers. Do you think that lack of formal voice training contributes to some older singers having to mime or lip sync as they age? You are amazing. Love you, Debbie. So thank you for that. Well, this is a bit of a, I guess, a talking point when we're talking about vocalists and vocal training, all this kind of stuff. Sometimes you'll have a band who might have a lead singer, and they might be either at school or college or university, so they haven't really studied for that long, if at all. how to sing or had any kind of training, and their band might become very popular. And when I say that, I mean worldwide. So it means that now they're touring, they're recording, and they're just using the technique that they know, the only technique they know of how to sing. And then trying to maybe go away and work at your technique, sometimes and the worst thing is, as a vocalist, is when you get into bad habits, and that's something that can happen. And I'm thinking really here of a band that are very much in my wheelhouse in terms of rock, hard rock, and Bon Jovi and John Bon Jovi with his voice, that because they were very popular at a young age, John obviously just used his voice the way that he used it. He wasn't classically trained or anything like that. He just sang the songs and did it how he did it. And I think looking back now, especially knowing the problems that he's had with his voice, looking back now, what he's doing with his voice is belting right at the top of his chest voice, effectively, because that's what belting is, really pushing the voice, not using a light mixed voice sound or a lighter head voice sound, because that wouldn't work. There's got to be attitude in the vocal, and this is where you go one of two ways. You either have a belty chest voice, which means that you're bringing up chest voice, and you can hit a ceiling doing that, and you will hit a ceiling doing that, because your chest voice will only go so far before you then have to kind of get into head voice and get a balance between the two. But a lot of singers will belt in chest voice, and when you're belting right at the top of your chest voice night after night and you're not getting a rest from it, you're going to damage your vocal cords, because it's too much. And I'm saying about not having pristine technique. Singers who have trained and trained in order to effectively belt in chest voice, or to extend their chest voice higher up in their range but not cause any undue stress to their vocal cords, that takes a hell of a lot of training. So I'm talking about singers that haven't had that training but are now doing this. It's effectively like shouting on pitch. So if you imagine that you go for a night out, and I've had this before, where the music's been so loud you've had to shout in order to be heard, and then the next day, of course, you lose your voice, or your voice is really croaky. That's an example of just bad technique, that some singers are trying to do that. So they're shouting in that way, and they're doing it night after night after night. So that vocal damage that they're getting, unfortunately, it's cumulative. So it's going to build up and build up until they get nodules on the vocal cords, and they literally then can't sing, have to have lots of vocal rest and hope that those nodules do recede and the vocal cords recover. But yeah, when we're talking about that voice, I think John Bon Jovi did that. So throughout his career, he's not using pristine technique. He's putting too much air through his vocal cords. They're drying up, they're rubbing together with a lot of force, and you get vocal injuries going on. But then on the other side, the thing that takes a hell of a lot of training, and some vocalists do this naturally, and they don't know that they're doing it naturally, but they're using their mixed voice, where it's a really light sound, and it sounds like they're belting, but they're not belting. If you were, and Chris Cornell's a great example of this, where it looks like he was, belting, or it sounds like he's belting into the microphone, and you'd imagine that he had the microphone miles away from his mouth because it's so loud. But then when you watch him singing, the microphone is right by his mouth all the time, regardless of how loud or quiet the vocal seems to be. And this is just using mixed voice, of having the perfect amount of airflow so that you're not pushing too much air through your vocal cords, and your vocal cords aren't snapping to the correct position through force. They're being snapped to position. It's almost like a whistle. So they're being snapped to position, and then you put the perfect amount of air through to then get that note. So yeah, and obviously it's totally relaxed. You're not going to be straining your voice, and you're not going to get loads of extra musculature involved because it's that relaxed. So yeah, the great singers who have been able to sing, high notes throughout their whole career are doing that. They've just got great vocal technique. But here's the annoying thing, and I'm saying this as a vocalist myself. Here's the annoying thing. Doing that, some people do it naturally, which is just usually they've been singing from a very young age, so they've naturally just fallen into the most effective way and efficient way to use their voice and their vocal cords. Some people just can do that naturally. Some people have worked at their voice for years and years and years and years and years in order to achieve that. And that's the problem, is that somebody that can't do it this way does it this way. And they, John Bon Jovi, he didn't have the years and years. And you can't say, okay, guys, I'm not going to tour anymore because I want to work at my voice for the next 3 to 5 years so that now I can do it, more efficiently and safely, so that I can, provide the vocals, in the same key for the rest of my career. That, they don't have those options, singers that become very popular very early on in their career. So, I think that's a good example of a voice who is just, belting, and it's always going to take its toll. But then, the Chris Cornell type singer who, just has great technique. And, myself, I know all the theory, and this is the annoying thing. I know the theory of how to sing perfectly, with great technique and, to use just the right amount of airflow and what needs to happen. But getting your vocal cords to do that is a whole nother thing entirely. Like, it's going to take a lifetime for you to master your vocal cords, especially someone like me, where I started trying to sing, not realizing what singing was. So therefore I started the wrong way. So it's almost like you've got to reverse for however many years you were doing it wrong and then go down the path of doing it right. And it's just having to unlearn things. So it's an absolute nightmare. But I think loads of people go through that. But having that mixed voice approach, and I have demonstrated that in videos before, where mixed voice is being able to access all the notes in your range really with the same kind of ease and the same approach to it. And it's just beyond vocal fry. So when you're going when you get that kind of sound, your vocal cords there are relaxed. It's like when you go there's no tension there. And the reason that you can make that vocal fry sound is because of the lack of tension, because your vocal cords are just wobbling. There's nothing really going on. So if you go and I don't know whether you can hear that, but I'm putting my vocal cords together to get a note after them being really wobbly, going and now it's going through my vocal cords, but they're coming together, but not being forced together. They're just together ever so lightly. So, hopefully, I'm going to skip this advert, but hopefully you can hear that kind of ease of connection, that I'm not going, and I'm not doing that. I'm starting from, and you'll find that the note, the sound is tiny in there. And that, and this is why it is so difficult, because you've got to work from that tiny sound. And once you've got that, it's then a case of then bringing, supporting your voice and using your breath the right way, but then lowering your larynx a bit. But the initial connection between the vocal cords, that doesn't change. They're just doing the same thing. So all you're doing is just adding more volume to it. You're allowing it to resonate, and just putting a little bit more into it from your diaphragm, and not kind of straining or anything like that. But obviously it's not a high note, but that's the principle, that you do that for every note in your range. And the great thing is, because it's so light and easy, when you start to want to get higher up in your range, those notes will feel exactly like the low notes. But like I said, you can know all the theory to it, but then when you try and go for a higher note, it means that the configuration of your vocal cords is now going to be different. So you've got to figure out how to get that particular note. And that's all muscle memory and experimentation. And it can take years and years and years. But that's a part of my voice that I'm constantly trying to work on it and figure out, because I know the theory, but it's like getting your voice to do it, and your vocal cords and the airflow exactly right. And then one day you'll find, for example, I've had before, like a G4 or an A4 and even a B4 or a C5. Sometimes you'll do it and you'll get a crazy note. It'll be like a G5, or something that's, a note that you think, well, I would ordinarily really have to work to get that note, but then it just comes out just after vocal fry. And you think, right, I understand the principle. I can make that pitch with my voice, but then adding the support and doing everything else, of course, as soon as you do that, it will disappear. So you've got to figure out that configuration. So yeah, it's very, very complicated. But this is the point, going back to the question that Debbie asked, this is why some singers can do it, because it is such an easy sound. Even when you start getting very advanced in age, if you're doing it the right way, you still should be able to do it because your voice is in a really relaxed place. But if you're doing it the other way and you're belting at the top end of your chest voice and it is very loud, you're putting a lot of air through your vocal cords, then that's the kind of thing that you lose when you age. And it can be just because of vocal cord damage, after maybe 20 or 30 years of doing it that way. So yeah, and unfortunately it's very difficult to then come back from that once you've done vocal damage, to then come back and try to do it the right way with mixed voice. And again, some people don't like mixed voice. They say, oh no, we prefer people that are really loud when they sing. But I would always lean towards technique and longevity than having a really short career where you were just shouting really loudly all the time. And even that, when you talk about screaming, where it sounds like people are shouting into the microphone, that is all vocal fry. Really aggressive sounds is more to do with vocal fry and shaping that sound, and going that sound is where that starts. Again, it's a relaxed sound. If you were genuinely screaming and making those noises into a microphone night after night after night, then yeah, your voice would be shot, after probably the first 10 minutes. But after a few gigs, yeah, it's not going to work. So even people that are screaming and making these kind of guttural sounds, they're doing it with actually good technique, because they have to do it like that, because you wouldn't be able to do it any other way if you're trying to force it. So anyway, thank you for that, Debbie. And we are just going to jump into another donation that's come through on PayPal as well. Cindy's donated £100, so thank you for that, Cindy. Very kind donation. And the message is, hi Phil, have you heard anything from people in the industry or other YouTubers in response to your recent fraud videos? Thanks. So thank you for that. And not too many. Sometimes people link me to other people's videos where they do reference my video and tell their subscribers or people watching their videos to check out one of my videos, which is great. There was a channel, and I'm not sure what the name was. It's something like Fairy Voice Godmother or something like that. But anyway, somebody linked me to a video that she did, because she was doing something on Celine Dion, talking about her voice and the health issues and how it's affected that. And she did comment very briefly at the beginning of her video about the performance at the Olympics, and she said for viewers of her channel, just so that they knew that she wasn't singing live at the Olympics, and then she referenced my video to go and check that out, because she didn't want to have an argument with people. She just wanted them to, if they thought she was singing live, to check out the Wings of Pegasus video, because that proves that it was a recording. So it's good that people can link to a video, so that with their subscribers they don't have to have arguments with people, because that's the problem, and that's always going to be the problem. Without being able to prove it objectively on screen, people are just going to say, oh well, that's your opinion. So you need to have that objective proof. So it's good that people now can link to my video to save all of that stuff going on. So yeah, another person, and again, maybe this is a troll corner thing or not, another person said, oh, this person is calling you out for your video on YouTube, and I'm not sure why she's done that. And the link was to this woman's video, which wasn't calling out. Calling out, I think, is something different, where somebody's contradicting what you're saying or calling you out for not being or not saying things that are actually true. Whereas it was that video. So I think this person was just trying to stir something. I don't know, I don't know why, but yeah, it was a link to that same video. So it wasn't a calling out; it was a shout out. Maybe it is more of an accurate way of describing it. But I've seen there's another person on a French channel who gave a shout out to my video explaining to his subscribers, because it's all in French, but I gathered from the subtitles that he was just referring to my video and letting people know that there's something that they can refer to as proof of what actually happened. So yeah, that's good as well. So yeah, pretty much I don't really have too much time to look at other channels, but I do occasionally get linked to them. And yeah, I mean, the other thing that, like I said earlier in tonight's live stream about this interpolation thing that Rick Beato was mentioning, and I mean, what I did do, let me see if I can find this. Yes, I did look up the interpolation, and on Wikipedia there's a page that says, and I'm going to read this out. It says, in popular music, interpolation, also called a replayed sample, refers to using a melody or portions of a melody, often with modified lyrics, from a previously recorded song, but re-recording the melody instead of direct sampling it. Interpolation is often used when the artist or label who owns the recording of the music declines to license the sample, or if the licensing piece of music is considered too costly. So this is basically saying that, and in popular music, if somebody is stating that it's interpolation, then the copyright owners must be credited and they must receive royalties, because that's the law. Interpolation is literally an explanation of the law. So using a different word doesn't mean that the law changes. If you say to someone, right, I'm going to give an example actually here. I'm going to grab the guitar, because it is plugged in for later if we hit the likes goal. So if you can hit that thumbs up, would be much appreciated. So I'm going to play something on my guitar, and it's going to go like this. So hopefully I won't get a copyright strike for this, but you'll recognize it. It goes like this. So imagine that I played that riff a few more times. People would know that riff and they'd know exactly where it came from. But guess what? The person that owns that particular riff, and Jack White, he refused to allow me to use it. So he said, no, I don't want you playing my riff. I will not license you. I will not agree by contract for you to use it. So then I say, oh, well, that's a bit annoying, but no matter. And then I just play it again. And then they say, well, no, I've said you can't play it. And then I say, oh no, but this is now interpolation. So I know that you've said I can't play your riff, but now I'm playing your riff. So it means that now I'm allowed to do it. It's like, what? Are you mental? Do you not understand that you need a license? You need my okay for you to use something that I've come up with. It's mine. It's in my intellectual property. So yeah, if you think about it in any other walk of life, it's ridiculous. It's like, you can go and imagine going into somebody's house. I've given kind of theft examples before, but you go into somebody's house and you say, oh, I like that watch that you've got that's on the table there. Can I have that? And the person says, well, no, it's my watch. It belongs to me. And they say, oh, okay. And the person takes it anyway. And they say, what are you doing? And they say, oh, I'm taking your watch. And they said, yeah, but that's my watch. And I've said you can't take it. And it says, oh, no, I'm permanently relocating it. I'm not taking it. So they just used a different word for theft. And that's exactly what this is. It doesn't change the law using different words. No matter what law you're breaking, you can't say, oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Because I'm calling it a different thing now. So see you later, my watch. Yay. No, So yeah, the fact that, and I've actually, I think in Rick's video, he said, or there was a song that's obviously using the melody from another song, but they've called it interpolation, which is literally admitting that they're breaking the law, because that's what interpolation is that you don't have permission to do it. So if you play it, you're breaking the law because you don't have permission. So yeah, that and the fact that they are not getting any revenue for it, not even getting credited for playing their riff. Yeah, so hopefully, and when I say riff, it's like a melody. So it means that you can take anybody's, according to this now, you can take anybody's melody, play it yourself, and you don't have to give them credit for it. So, you know, that just doesn't work. Not only in the music industry, it doesn't work for anything. You know, you could say, right, I like the Harry Potter books. So what I'm going to do is, rather than get a license for it, I'm going to type it all out myself again and sell it as my version of Harry Potter. And you say, well, it's not your version. You just copied exactly what it was. So yeah, but I typed it out. So now it's my version. So now I own it. So I can sell it. You know, it doesn't work like that. And, you know, the more you think about it, the more ridiculous it is that they're now trying to use a word to cover over theft of intellectual property. But yeah, the law is the law. So anyway, there's the example. Hopefully that makes sense of how it's still breaking the law and the law hasn't changed. And if you see anything, I'm just making sure the guitar's not going to fall down. But if you see, any song or anything that says that they're using a particular melody or riff as interpolation, and that's why the original writers haven't been credited, they're admitting that they're guilty. Now this is something, like I said, I could do a specific video on this about what this is now being used to refer to as, you know, apparently you can now take other people's songs and melodies and just play it yourself and then it's yours. It'll be interesting to see what Scott, the lawyer friend of the channel, what he thinks about it. And again, this could be another rabbit hole that we go down, but yeah, certainly I don't think that he would disagree with the fact that you're still breaking the law. You can't use somebody else's melody. You know, it's ridiculous. So anyway, Karen has donated £5.75. Thank you for that, Karen. The message is, hi Phil, congrats on hitting 411,000 subscribers. You never cease to amaze me with your awesomeness. The lead singer of the band Little Dragon, Yukimi Nagamo, stated that she has a strict no auto-tune policy. Does that mention increase your interest in analysing her band's performance? Thanks for all you do. Cheers, Karen. So thank you for that. And I mean, generally, I just look at everything exactly the same way. And any request that comes through, I'll check it out. And if it's a live vocal, if it's an authentic vocal, if they're actually singing and it isn't manipulated, then that's great. But yeah, if it is pitch corrected or auto-tuned, then I will point that out, as you guys know. And there's a video that I'm probably going to be releasing, by the time I get to it, it might be Sunday of this week. But this is another thing that, again, it kind of changes the landscape as to how deep this rabbit hole is. Because I've said in the past that it's a really deep rabbit hole, but it seems like people are emailing me and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and you think, oh, where does this end? And it's really just an industry problem where you've got people who are actually telling fans of the band, and they are either part of the band or part of the production team. I don't want to kind of spoil Sunday's video, but some people are going to look a little bit silly when I reveal what I'm going to reveal, because they've stated publicly that it isn't what I can show you it is. So we'll get to it on Sunday. But anyway, thank you for that, Karen. But it does seem like the rabbit hole's never ending. Orlando has donated £5 as well. Thank you for that, Orlando. The message is, congrats on 411,000 subscribers. This message was not allowed on the super chat. That was annoying. So thank you for that, Orlando. And I don't know why that is, but sometimes I know that YouTube has a bit of a funny thing with emoticons. That's the only thing I know in the past, that sometimes it blocks particular messages that might have lots of little pictures on them, so that might be it. But anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. And Karen's donated $10 as well. Thank you for that, Karen. The message is, I believe that David Draymond was classically trained as well as trained to be a cantor in synagogue. How long would you expect him to be able to keep his voice healthy? So thank you for that, Karen. And with David's voice, I mean, he has. I mean, you can tell with his voice about his sound and the control that he has, that there's obviously a lot of vocal technique in there. Now the problem is with one of his performances that he had, and yeah, I think a lot of people will know this, the Sound of Silence performance that he had. I can't remember what TV show it was on. But anyway, yeah, I won't be able to think of it. But they auto-tuned his voice. And this is the problem, that you can have somebody who is a great singer. And they might even, have had training, be, classically trained. But they are auto-tuned. So people see that performance and then they think, oh, well, this person can't sing. But in David's case, as I said on that video analysis that I did, he can sing. He's a great singer. He's got a great voice. But I think with that particular performance, he had a cold and they maybe thought it was better to, I don't know, auto-tune his voice rather than just put it on TV as it was with having a cold. But this is, again, the problem is that nothing is allowed to be substandard or what somebody would perceive as substandard nowadays. You can't go on TV and perform with a cold and it has to be 100%. It can't be 95% of a performance in terms of hitting pitches. So, yeah, I don't know. I've said before about it seems like in every corner of life now, everyone's saying about accepting yourself, accepting your limitations, and loving who you are, and the way that you do things, because they're going to be unique and all these different things. But then as soon as you get to the music industry, that stops. And it's like, well, no, don't accept any note that is slightly off. We're going to correct it, so you're going to be perfect. It's like, filtering images on Instagram, or, when I say, using filters, that kind of thing that, make your skin or your spots or acne disappear and make your eyes brighter and, all this kind of stuff, and make your lips fuller. All of these different filters that, as soon as they're applied, I can see them a mile off when they've been applied. But all of these different things that is effectively fakery, that people have said, well, no, let's do away with that, because, it's not very good for, the mental health of the next generation, thinking that you've got to be like this or you've got to be like that. And in the music industry, it is 100%. You have got to be like that. You've got to be on these lines. You've got to be auto-tuned. You've got to be pitch corrected. If you're not good enough, or you're no good. So yeah, I think that performances that aren't 100% amazing, they have to be allowed to go through, so people get a realistic expectation of themselves and their own voices, that's how a natural voice sounds. So yeah, but anyway, I think David will be able to sing for a very long time. When you talk about illness such as flu and cold, that's going to have a negative effect on anybody's voice, regardless of how well trained you are. So yeah, I would say that David should be able to keep singing at a very good level for a very long time. So Les has donated $20 as well. Thank you for that, Les. The message is: curious about your guitar journey, lessons? ? Self-taught? ? If so, how did you learn intervals, modes, improvising chords, etc.? Copy what famous players were doing. Jam with contemporaries. Best route for older beginner. Rock. So thank you for that, Les. And I first of all started learning to play the guitar listening to Jimi Hendrix and Boston and different bands that my dad had the records of, vinyls back in the day, even though they're coming back. When I was listening to them, that it was back in the day. So that would have been late 80s, probably early 90s, something like that. So I started playing when I was probably 11 or 12. I lose track of how old I was. But when I say I started playing, I didn't have lessons, and I wasn't sitting down learning songs and all that kind of stuff. I was figuring it out for myself. So my dad would show me a few basic chords, and that's what he set me up with. But I think the way that my dad taught me to play guitar was not by teaching me to play the guitar, which is, I think, probably the way that he learned to play, and the way that he got into music was listening and then trying to replicate what you can hear, because that's a totally different way of learning. If you can start to hear in detail what is going on, somebody can play a riff and then you can play that riff because you know where those notes are, because you can effectively sing it back. So if you can sing the riff back in your head, then you'll be able to play it on the guitar. And that's kind of how I started, to learn to play. And yeah, I never learnt intervals. I never learnt modes, scales, anything like that. I just would use the guitar to sing through, because I could come up with melodies in my head, and before I learned to sing, then the guitar was the way that I wanted to do it. So any little melody that I had, I would play through. And that's what the fill jams at the end of the live streams are all about, because Joe sends me a backing track, 169 it is tonight, whatever that's going to be, and I just sing over that track, whatever the track is. So I mean, there are obviously technical elements that you need to work at in order to build up a little bit of light and shade in your solos, playing faster, then playing more slowly, and kind of mixing up like that. But that's just a natural progression that you'll play through, and you'll start to just feel when you want to play a little bit faster, when you want to slow things down, according to the melodies that you've got going on in your head. So yeah, I started along that route, and then from the notes, and this is the other thing, that once I got to a point where I was looking up, say for example, the minor pentatonic, shape 1, I would then realize that, I've already worked that out. I knew that shape. And then I'd know that, and this extended shape, going up, here, I already know that shape. But then I thought, but why aren't they using this shape here? And this is what kind of helped with my guitar teaching, because I started teaching guitar when I was 22 or 23, something like that. And again, that started from me being out and gigging, and people saying, can you teach me? Do you teach guitar? Can you teach me how to do what you're doing? How to play lead guitar. So because I was doing it, this is where some people say, those who can't do it teach, or something. They always misquote something that it actually means the opposite as to what they're trying to say. But anyway, they say, people that can't do it teach. You think, well, yeah, but what if you were doing it and people have asked you to teach them? So that's how my teaching started. And then I started teaching on behalf of a shop. They were looking for a guitar teacher, and they were having, I was going to say auditions, but interviews, that was it. So in the interview, the person, the owner of the shop, just gave me an out of tune guitar and said, can you tune that guitar? And because I've been doing it by ear, from a very young age, I tuned up the guitar. And then I think they weren't expecting me to be able to do it as quickly as I did, but I did it. So that was obviously a plus. And then he said, well, what's your style of play and how do you do it? And I just said, the way that I've learned to play is just listening to things and playing it back. So it kind of saves time with having to write things down or read music. I can listen to it and generally kind of figure it out. And then I just played notes at the same time as singing. So I gave an example of what I meant, that I'm singing in my head at the same time as playing. And then after that, he literally gave me the job straight away. So that was good. And it meant that, I was now teaching from the age of 22 on behalf of a shop. And I was doing loads of teaching there. On a Sunday, I'd have probably 15 students back to back, just all day without a break. So that was all crazy, but it meant that I was at least getting a little bit of money, which was good, because it meant that I could pay for rehearsals when I then wanted to go out and gig. So that was tiring, but it was good. And then probably 2 or 3 years after that, maybe a little bit longer, I then started teaching privately. So went in that direction, just because the shop wasn't as well equipped as I wanted it to be. I wanted to have something where people could come in, and if they wanted to learn a song, just give me the song and we'll learn it, because when you can hear what's going on, you can kind of start teaching them straight away, rather than having to go through. They might say, I want to learn this, and then the teacher would say, but I haven't figured that out, I'm going to teach you what I know. But you think, well, but the student wants to learn what they want to learn. So just I always think that if they're going to enjoy it more when they're playing something they want to be able to play. So that's the way that I approached it. But anyway, that was my guitar journey. There you go. It's pretty much just me figuring it out, and that was always my focus, just listening to it and figuring it out. And I mean, for teaching, obviously I needed to then have an appreciation of theory and reading music and all that kind of stuff, especially if kids were doing grades as they were doing at school. But I would say that I actively try to move away from that. I don't like, having everything worked out and saying, oh, right, well, with this chord, these are the notes you can play. It's like, well, no, I'm going to play the notes that I feel like playing, the ones that I'm thinking of, regardless of what scale or mode they might be in, because that's where I want to go melodically. So yeah, I really try. And actually, since I haven't been teaching, because I can't do it, I haven't got the time now. But yeah, even though people do message me a lot about it, because I don't have time for teaching, I find that almost the more I get away from theory, the better. That this is why the field jams very enjoyable, because you just get to play along to something that you haven't heard before, and you're just coming up with something organically, and you're not thinking about scales, you're not thinking about modes, you're not thinking about oh, what am I allowed to play, what aren't I allowed to, or where should I go, where shouldn't I go. It's you go where you're singing, so for some people it might be a case of actually getting that ability to begin with, to be able to think, right, I'm thinking of a note, where's that on my guitar, and maybe setting yourself up with minor pentatonic scale, for example, and playing through it and going na 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 na. I've got up an octave at the end to get the lower notes, but all of those notes that I've just sung, that was the minor pentatonic shape, and I know, I'm doing it with my hand because I know na 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 na. I know that those are the noises when you do that, when you go little finger, first finger. So this is it. So you'll be able to do that. So singing, your hand does the notes that you're singing. So it's kind of getting that link, because I think a lot of people play with, it's all theory. They're not actually engaging their inner voice of going na 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 na. And once you've got that na 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 na, I'm naturally putting down my second finger because that's the noise. Na 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 na, third finger, first finger, for the notes that I'm singing. So yeah, you just get that connection, and once you get that, then hopefully that starts to make it a little bit clearer that when I'm playing the guitar, all I'm doing is kind of going through melodies in my head, but my fingers are just doing the notes, because they know, they know where they are, because you're just following the melody, because yeah, it's joining those two things. A lot of people don't join those two things, so they're constantly playing lines of other guitarists, which is fine, but I think it's a lot more rewarding when you're just doing it and you're singing, and if people like it, great, and if they don't, it's just fun kind of singing through the instrument. So yeah, it's that. And I have said in the past about doing a guitar course and trying to teach people how to use their inner voice in order to play, but this is the problem. I'm so busy with everything, and I've got another side project that's going on at the moment that that guitar course, I'm not sure when or if that will happen, but yeah, it's just a major thing that people and I know that it works, not learning any scales, not learning any modes, but I've had people comment, say, oh, I love the way that you went Phrygian and then you went Aeolian, and they're telling me what I did. Well, I didn't do anything. I was just singing the notes. So I'm not actively trying to use any modes and trying to be clever. You just sing what and other people can figure it out and tell you what modes you played in. But yeah, it's a lot easier to just sing your melodies and play it, and then whatever mode they happen to be in, that's for the people that are into the theory to figure out. And if they then want to copy it, they're not actually ever going to be able to copy it, because they're approaching it from the wrong angle. They have to forget about that and sing through their guitar with the notes they've got, and then they will be doing the same thing. So anyway, yeah, quite a long answer to that, but thank you for that, Les. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those questions that it would be a long time me trying to explain, but I would say play through, just do what I did there, minor pentatonic shape 1. Just or box 1, if that's what you call it. Play through those notes so many times that you know what the next note is going to be before you play it. That's the first step, because if your brain and your ear can figure out what that next note is, it starts to link that note with the finger placement. So you're going na na na. If you know that first finger is now going to be na, then you're starting to build that connection. And then na 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 na. So now I did a bend there with my third finger to the blues scale, to the blues note, but I'm not thinking that. I just sing that. Nah. I know that that's a third finger little bend up, which would happen at the same time that I'm nah. Third finger came over to play that note. So yeah, it's just linking these things together. Anyway, Paul's donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Paul. The message is, late getting on here, 411,000 subscribers. Awesome. Let's spike the likes. All y'all rock. Right, I know that we're running out of time because I was answering guitar-based questions and that kind of stuff. I always tend to, especially when it's something that's like that, it takes a while to try and explain a whole shift of mind and concept and trying to teach people or tell people how to approach, or at least how I play lead guitar. But anyway, thank you for that, Paul. Karen's donated $5 as well. Thank you for that. The message is, how would you compare the difference in guitar skills between George Harrison and John Lennon? So thank you for that, Karen. Oh, and I'm not really into comparing guitarists directly, but I would say that George, for me, had probably a little bit more lead technique, so he'd worked on lead techniques a little bit more, maybe a little bit more slide than John had. So John, I would say, had less work on his lead playing, but they could both play chords, of course, and then switch from one chord to the next without a problem. But you start to see little differences when they go off into lead break. So if they have any kind of lead section, so I'd say that George did a little bit more work on the lead side of things, but again, it's not to say that John couldn't play lead guitar. That's the only thing that there's a slight difference between the two. Vicky's donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Vicky. The message is, what made you stay with the 80s look? Hair, but love it. Rock on, Phil, and congrats on all of your subscribers. So thank you for that, Vicky. And I don't think anything really makes you stay with something. Yes, I just stuck with it anyway. I guess just, being recognisable maybe is a bonus rather, I don't know. I don't think that I'd want to disappear into a crowd. And I know I used to have short hair up until the age of, 20, 21, 22 is when I started, growing it out. And because I wanted to do music, it was something that naturally went with that. Now, I think that if I was playing, 80s rock and I had short hair, it wasn't something that, I don't know, radiated my personality or the kind of music that I was into or the way that I wanted to play and all that kind of stuff. I think you find your identity musically and your look just happens to go with that, whatever it may be. Some people have different looks, which is absolutely fine. Mine just happened to be this. And I think a lot of it is determined by just the way that your hair grows and how curly it is, and whether it's straight or anything. Your look is just, naturally, my look is just, quite curly hair. That, this is actually, you can see, if I pull it down here, it actually should go down as far as where my hands are here, but then I let go and see how much it pops up. So, my hair is quite curly, but then I need to grow it quite long for the weight of it to hold it down and not just go sideways. So anyway, thank you for that, Vicky. Right now we have hit the goal, so we will be busting out the guitar later on for the Phil Jam. I say later on, it's going to be happening in probably 10 minutes. So let's jump into tonight's cover video, which is going to be Is This Love? So I hope you guys enjoy. This is my version of the Whitesnake classic, and I'll see you guys after. Rock! You go alone. It's times like these I can't make it on my own. Wasted days, me sleepless nights, and I can't wait to see you again. I found to spend my time waiting on your call. How can I tell you, babe, my back's against the wall? By my side just to tell And there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thank you guys for requesting that over on Patreon. So, we were going to have a troll corner, but just quickly, I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh, I know what it was. Somebody was saying, they said something like, you're becoming obsessed. It's time you figured out what you're going to do with your life or what you want to achieve with your life. Something like that. So this was a comment on YouTube that obviously thinks that, what I'm doing, I don't know, it's not worth doing and that I should be trying to achieve something else with my life. I don't know. But yeah, I basically said, well, I'm quite happy with how things are with my life and the things that I've achieved. Or the things that I was aiming for, I have achieved, and I've always said that doing music full time was my main goal. And I just said, I said to this person that it's probably better for them to focus on their goals and what they want to achieve with their life, rather than worrying about what I'm achieving with my life. So a bit of a weird one, but I did say as well that every video I do on the channel is a request. So it's not that, I'm trying to do something or I don't know what to do, or, I'm trying to achieve something and I don't know what I'm trying to achieve. And, all I'm doing is just the same thing, that people are requesting a video for me to look at. And, I'm not obsessing about anything. I'm just looking at things that are sent to me. So, there you go. There's a troll corner without Mr. Troll on screen. Let me see if he can appear. And look at that, I can click on Mr. Troll. So I'm going to remember that for the future. So just in case I have a very quick troll moment, or maybe, imagine if that was automated. So whenever I was talking about somebody that might be a troll, just the troll appears in the corner and then disappears. That'd be great. But anyway, right, we are going to be jumping into the Phil Jam for tonight. And Orlando donated $5. Thank you for that, Orlando, and said critical hit. Yes, and that's the Nintendo looking controller. Right, so, let me get organised. Microphone on. This. Zoom out, little red dude. Check. Where are we here? Okay, Joe. Philjam 169. Gem, which we have. It's going to be the gem. And the thing is, it has changed, so now I can see that there's... I can at least see the image of the video, and I can see already it says heavy metal guitar backing. It says something underneath that. It's too small. I think it says guitar. But anyway, let's click on that and mute that advert. Wait for it to play through. Right, so this is heavy metal hard rock guitar backing track in E minor. Okay, I'll skip the advert. And this is from Heavy Metal Backing Tracks, and then a dash topic. So, I'm not sure what that means. But Heavy Metal Backing Tracks as it sounds, and that's where you'll need to go in order to find this on YouTube. But it does say dash topic at the end of it, so I don't know whether you'll have to put that in as well. But as long as you get the title for the video, Heavy Metal Hard Rock Guitar backing track in E minor. So anyway, the other thing is, these are still my, I say old strings, but these strings have got to go at some point. Are they going to go during a heavy metal hard rock? I mean, probably most likely to go with that kind of backing track. But let's have a listen. Let me know what the levels are like in the live chat room. And let me try and actually get myself organised. Let's jump into this and see what happens. Okay, my guitar's on, which is good. Let's have a listen. Okay, I can hear it. breakdown kind of thing here. Close to the end here. Oh, fade out. And there we have a manufactured ending because it faded out. So there we have it. That was the Fill Jam for tonight, and the strings have survived another Fill Jam. So there we go. That was it. Heavy metal, hard rock, guitar, backing track in E minor, and that is from Heavy Metal Backing Tracks Topic. So thank you, Joe, for sending that one to me. And I mean, that was one of those backing tracks that, going back to kind of singing through the guitar, it's interesting because particular styles of playing it and particular genres have, there's always a balance between conscious playing it and subconscious playing. And I mean, this kind of thing is almost half and half, because a lot of the stuff, when I was kind of getting into tapping, that's all kind of subconscious stuff that you are actually, the melody part of it, I'm tapping the high note is what I'm singing. So it's going, if I'm going, I know there. Now if I go a semitone, And tone, I'm kind of that top note, I'm moving it because I'm going na 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 na, and you know where those notes are, so you kind of tap them in because the first three, even though it's quite fast, there's still an element of melody to that. But yeah, the other stuff that's more kind of subconscious runs and all that kind of stuff, like that tapping, all that's all just subconscious stuff that you can go on a bit of a holiday mentally, because then it's just in that style of music. You just play a little bit fast and then get back into the melody afterwards. So anyway, that was that, just relating it to that previous question. So there has been a donation. Oh, David donated $3 and said my hero, so thank you for that, David. Diamond Girl donated $2 and said so cool, thanks Phil, very enjoyable tonight, so thank you for that. And just another donation over on PayPal, and this is Beth, who has donated £25. Thank you for that, Beth. The message is, you seem to be doing absolutely fine with your life, Phil. Is there anything more worthwhile than bringing joy and information to others? Best, Beth. So thank you for that. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing this and interacting with you guys on the channel, but also during these live streams where I get to chat with you in a live setting, which is great. But as for tonight's live stream, we have reached the end of it. So thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up and getting us past that 490 like total. We are going to be live streaming again on Saturday night, where we're going to be attempting a new record for the channel of likes. So yeah, if you could tune in, then that would be great in order to help us to get to that total. And yeah, if you could tune in next week as well, I'll be here again, same time, same place, 11 p.m. British summertime. I'm so used to saying Greenwich Mean Time, but yeah, just check your clocks, type into Google time in London, England, and then you'll find out what it is in this room, what time it is. So anyway, yes, have a fantastic rest of your week, and all that's left for me to say is try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live, and I will catch you guys at the next one. Rock!